It's about two boys who are from different families. One is not a Jewish person and the other is Jewish. The book was set in the early 1930s to the early 1940s. The main plot was of a Catholic boy watching his best friend's life get ruined by the religious hatred of the time. The rabbi and the father of his Jewish friend got taken to a concentration camp. And in the beginning, the non-Jewish boy was jealous of his friend's life, but it slowly gets ruined and then he just gets sad.
There are three different types of camps in the Nazi Germany era. These camps include concentration camps, extermination camps, and labor camps. Some extermination camps include Auschwitz, Birkenau, Belzec, Chelmno, and Janowska. Many horrible things happened in the extermination camps, such as gas chambers. So when people arrived there, they would probably be able to get water, maybe a little bit of food, and then shower with soap. Soon after, they'd be sent right into the gas chamber, and it would simply kill all of them in there. Concentration camps are a little bit different than this, but here are some things that happened inside of them. People would be unloaded from the cattle trucks, separated from all of their family members. Prisoners would then have to shave all their hair off, and they'd have to undress and put on uniform clothing that the camp provided. They would awake early in the morning and have a daily roll call, and they would have to work for a while. Everyone had to share 100 toilets in the entire facility with no privacy. So labor camps are pretty self-explanatory, but here are some labor camps and what they had to do. So some labor camp names include Dachau, Flossenburg, Jagla, Klugla, Ravensbrück, and Vevera. So depending on the day, they would work at a variety of things. Most people had worked outside the camps in one of many factories, construction projects, farms, or coal mines. They would quite often have to walk several kilometers to their place of work. But there's also a different job, a Sonderkommando. They were selected to work in the crematorium camps. So they were selected due to their strength and fitness. But the life expectancy was only 4 months. And if you don't know, a crematorium is a furnace or establishment for the incineration of corpses. So this is just a general overview about what they had done in the camps.
Irene Fogel-Wise. Irene was only 13 years old when she was sent to Auschwitz along with 99 other Jews from Bolshevik Czechoslovakia. She was sent there with her mother, father, and 5 other siblings. None of them really knew about concentration camps like these. They just knew about the work camps, which is where they thought they were headed. When she was younger, Czechoslovakia was split in half, so her small town was now Hungary when this occurred. Hungary was allied with the Nazis, which became a problem for them. However, the Jewish population wasn't taken away until the end of 1944, only about a year before Auschwitz, the camp, was evacuated and the prisoners were saved. When she arrived, her and her family agreed that it wouldn't be that bad as long as they could stick together. Sadly for them, that didn't happen. Her mother and the younger children were sent to one side, and her father and older brother were sent to the other. Irene and her older sister were chosen for the labor camps. Her mother and younger siblings were sent to the gas chambers, and she is still unsure what happened to her father and her brother, because she never saw them again after that day. In early 1945, her and her sister were transported by the SS to another camp. As the Soviets approached, the SS left, so they were left to fend for themselves. They spent months trying to get back home, but by the time they arrived, they realized that everything was gone. On the way home, they found some surviving relatives, so after about half a year living with them, they moved to the States and put the rest behind them to start a new life.
A day in the concentration camp would go like this. You had to wake up, make the bed perfectly, which wasn't possible, and if you didn't, they would beat you. You would wash in dirty water, then have breakfast bread made from sawdust, sausage from mangy horses, and tea made of weeds. Morning roll call, where everyone, including the dead who had to be propped up, were counted. If they messed up, they had to recount, and the whole thing would last hours, standing stiffly upright. You had to walk to work, and the stragglers were beaten to death. The work was tiring and useless, building a tunnel for no reason, moving bags of sand. You had to work for many hours, usually 12 to 14, and you also had to work very fast. Many people died from lack of nourishment and overworking. Once the work was done, the survivors had to drag the dead back to camp. The evening roll call was basically the morning roll call, except they also chose the punishments and hangings, and the prisoners had to watch. The dinner was mystery soup, and after that you'd return to your bunk with 5 other people who you had to sleep with in a very small bed. That would be the end of your day. Concentration camps were also famous for experimenting on people. They would see how much salt water they could drink, see how long they could stay in the cold until they got hypothermia. Experiments weren't just common in the camp, they were encouraged. Nazis made the people who would die march to obscenely happy music. This is one of the things that scarred the survivors most. Even the trains that carried the people to the concentration camps are horrible. People in the piled car that would usually carry 50 people with 200 people. These cramped trips would last 18 days, and the people actually had to pay for the privilege.
The first concentration camps in Germany were established soon after Hitler's appointment as Chancellor in 1933. At first, these camps didn't really bring in a lot of people. The Jewish people didn't expect to be taken because they knew what not to do. They would get taken away for opposing Hitler's government, or they were thought to threaten it. Later, the Nazis had a different reason to take them away. It was because if any of the Jews were released, they were not allowed to speak about what had happened while they were at the camp. If they did, they would be sent back. The whole purpose for the Nazi soldiers to take them away was to control the majority of the population and for the fear they were causing for others. Before they could end the concentration camps, they had to destroy all the evidence of crime that the Jewish people committed. But it was very hard to do because they still had the people to tell what had happened in the camps. The Jewish people now knew that they couldn't be taken away for telling. Over the course of having concentration camps, there were a total of 700,000 Jews held. It has been estimated that nearly half of the total number of concentration camp deaths between 1933 and 1945 occurred during the last year of war.